So 14th aphorism is over, and today in this class we are going to deal with 3 aphorisms, that is 15, 16 and 17. As you have been watching my videos, you would be knowing that normally I try to convey messages or meaning of the things by telling you or sharing my experiences. For today's 15th aphorism, I am going to share a very good example which I observed in my clinic. Now, a man who was 60 years old, he came to my clinic. He was having breathlessness. Of course, he was having a very heaving breathing. All the accessory muscles of the neck were active and he was finding difficult to breathe. Now, this patient also had vitiligo. Now, this patient came to me, gave the details, and while giving the details, though he was breathing so heavily, he just came to me and told about his skin symptoms. He was so worried about the vitiligo that he was constantly seeing his hand, and he was telling me that, "Doctor, please give me medicine for my vitiligo." So when I observed, as I told you, it's a duty of a physician to have a very good observation. And when I observed the patient, I told that you are suffering with breathlessness attack or asthmatic attack. So just tell about that also. And then he told me, outrightly told me, no, don't bother about that, doctor. Don't consider my breathlessness or asthma. Just treat me for my skin. So patients think of their body as parts. But do we think like that? No. In homeopathy, the whole system is based on a most important concept called as holistic concept. I had to make the patient realize that I can't treat a part of you. If you want treatment from me, I will have to consider all your symptoms, all your diseases, and give you a medicine which matches everything. But because at present you are having an acute attack of asthma, I will be treating it first. Whether you like it or not, this is what I am going to do. If you want, you can sit here and continue with the case, or you want, you can leave. So, one thing you have to learn in this profession is that you have to be very honest to the patient. So, what is about today's aphorism? 15th aphorism tells us about holistic concept. It is a concept which was put forth by Hahnemann, and it's a very original and true concept. Till that time, all the other systems were dividing the human body, and we are so used to it that we ourselves divide our body. We think our mind is separate and our body is separate. So 15th aphorism is about holistic concept. So, the deranged vital force how does it express itself? It expresses in the form of signs and symptoms. So, that is totality of symptoms. So, the deranged vital force plus the signs and symptoms, that is totality of symptoms, together they constitute a whole. They are the one and same. You can't divide your body and tell that this is different and this is different. Because of their deranged vital force, it expresses in form of signs and symptoms, and that itself constitutes the whole. So this aphorism tells us about the holistic concept in homeopathy. Vital force is conceivable through organism and the vice versa. If we are alive, as I told in the last class, if we are alive because of our vital force, or the force which governs us and sees that everything is in its place and still working. When I am talking to you, my heart is beating, my pulse is there, my respiratory rate is there, my body is moving, my muscles are moving, and my thoughts are also moving. So you have to understand that so many things happen in the body, and the vital force is conceivable through organism, and the organism is conceivable through vital force. In our thoughts, we consider the vital force, we consider the mind and body as separate, but it is only in the thoughts. These together it functions. The mind and body together is a unit. The body and the vital force together is a unit. So we have to understand the holistic concept now of the disease. Now let me go to the 16th aphorism. The 16th aphorism is about vital force and how our medicines act. Now when vital force is deranged, we get disease. Likewise, if a disease has to be removed, so disease is a dynamic reaction of deranged vital force. So if disease is because of deranged vital force, that means how the medicine should be. The medicine should be able to act dynamically on a healthy prover. Then we get the symptoms. Now this same medicine, when given in disease which it is able to produce, then it leads to cure. So if the disease is dynamic, the medicine also has to be dynamic. Now how we understand the dynamic power of our medicines is by proving it on healthy. So if the medicine is proved on healthy, and when given on a healthy prover, it is able to bring out the signs and symptoms. That means it is able to cure the same signs and symptoms when seen in a diseased individual. Now how does our vital force respond to medicine? So this is one point. The other point is, how does our vital force respond to medicines? According to Hahnemann, in this aphorism, he explains beautifully that the vital force expresses or responds to medicine how? Through nerves which are present everywhere in the body. So, how does the body respond to medicine? Through nerves. Now, this question, why I am highlighting the importance to this, because many a times it happens that patients come, and some people who don't totally believe in homeopathy come and ask that how come you give medicines and you tell them to take on the tongue, you mix it with water, or you tell them to put the pills in the mouth, and you tell don't chew, please just let the medicines or the globules dissolve on your tongue. So why do we give so much importance to tongue? Because you have to realize that tongue is an organ which is supplied by many nerves. It's not only a single nerve, and it is filled with so many nerve cells. So if you take a tongue, the anterior two-third, this is not in the aphorism, this is for you to understand Organon better. So if you take the tongue and you see the anterior two-third, okay, is supplied by two nerves, that is chorda tympani, which is in turn branch of facial nerve, and lingual nerve, which is a branch of trigeminal nerve. If you see the tongue is having so many buds. So what are these buds? Each bud is like a nerve cell, which carries the impulse to the nerves, which in turn carries it to the brain. Because of so many nerves and such an active tongue, we in homeopathy guide the patient or tell the patients to take the medicines in the morning when your system is clear, and on the nerves, like either through water so that large area of your tongue is exposed to the medicine, or by pills in the form of dissolving it slowly on your tongue and not chewing it with your teeth. But of course the posterior two-third is by the glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, so this is how our body takes in the medicine. This is how our medicines act. Then comes our 17th aphorism, which is about vital force and cure. So what is cure? Removal of all the signs and symptoms which are perceptible is cure. Now the internal deranged vital force, when is corrected, what happens? We get cure. So if we have totality of symptoms, we take the medicine and we treat, and all the signs and symptoms vanish. That means our internally deranged vital force has come back to its normal harmonious way. So whole of the signs and symptoms gone is a proof that the disease does not no longer exist and the vital force is corrected. So disease is removed. That means health is restored. In this aphorism, you can see the last two lines which Hahnemann focuses. So if we correct the deranged vital force and remove all the signs and symptoms, that is the sole aim of the physician, and that is So with these things, our 15th, 16th, 17th aphorism is over, which 15 tells about holistic concept, 16th aphorism about how our medicines act, and 17th aphorism about vital force and cure. So thank you. We have few more to go on vital force. See you again.